Good morning, friends. Today we shall start our new paper, that is paper 7th. The title of paper is the biochemistry. In this biochemistry, the first unit, that is the biomolecules. Under these biomolecules, we are seeing the structure, classification and the properties of the carbohydrate, proteins and the fats. So carbohydrate, proteins and fats, it is nothing but the biomolecules of the it is nothing but the biomolecules. So firstly, we have seen the first biomolecules, that is a carbohydrate. Under this heading, the structure, classification and the properties of carbohydrate, you know that it is nothing but the BSc second year, semester 3rd, paper 7th, unit 1st. Now we have start the structure of carbohydrate. Before that, we have seen the structure of that carbohydrate, the properties or the general introduction about that carbohydrates. That is, the carbohydrates are among the most widely distributed compounds in both plants and animal kingdom. Means it is the source of that carbohydrate from the plants and the animal kingdom. So plant built up the carbon dioxide by photosynthesis, and during the photosynthesis they are formed by the carbohydrates. Then the many plant and animals contained large quantities of carbohydrate and reserve food material. So carbohydrate, it is nothing but the hydrate of carbon, and this carbohydrate, they have contained the carbon, hydrogen and oxygen in the ratio of 1:2:1. It means the one molecule of carbon, the two molecule of hydrogens and one molecule of the oxygens. That is a 1:2:1 ratio. We know that the carbohydrate represented by the general formula, that is CXH2OY. For example, that is the glucose, it is one of the example of that carbohydrate. The glucose has the molecular formula C6H12O6. Means the 6 carbon atom and 6 oxygen atom, it is the double the 12 hydrogen atoms, that is nothing but the C6H12O6. A characteristic feature of carbohydrate, it is the occurrence in them of carbonyl group and at least 2 hydroxyl group it has contained the carbohydrate. Therefore, glyceraldehyde and dihydroxyacetone may be referred to as the simplest carbohydrate. So, from the information, that is the introduction about the carbohydrates, you know that carbohydrate, it is present into the plant and the animals. They have contained the large quantity and it is stored as a reserve food material. The carbohydrate is nothing but the hydrate of carbon and they are present in the ratio of 1:2:1. That is one of the example of that glucose, that is C6H12O6, and it has contains the carbonyl group at least 2 hydroxyl groups. This is the structure. You know that the CHO, that is aldehyde group, and HCOH, that is a hydroxyl group. It forms the CH2OH. So CHO, HCOH, that is aldehyde and hydroxyl group. Then CH2 and OH, it is nothing but called as the glyceraldehyde. Here it is another example of that the carbohydrate, that is CH2OH, C double bond O, that is a keto group, it is one of the aldehyde group, and CH2OH, it is nothing but the dihydroxyacetone. Now the structurally the carbohydrates are the polyhydric alcohol of carbon possessing active aldehyde or ketonic group, which on hydrolysis yield up such products. With such type of the structure, they will be formed after the hydrolysis of the products. Now let us we have start the classification of carbohydrates. We know that the carbohydrate may be classified according to their complexity. They are classified into the following groups. Basically, the carbohydrates are classified into the main two groups, that is sugar and the non-sugar. But the sugar is again classified into the monosaccharide and oligosaccharides, and the non-sugar is classified into the homopolysaccharide and heteropolysaccharides. Then the monosaccharides are again classified into the aldose, ketones, triones, tetrones, pentones, and the hexose. The monosaccharide, it is a simple sugar. They are sweet in the taste and it is soluble in water. That is example glucose, fructose, and the galactose. Mono means it is the single. That's why it is a simple sugar. Then monosaccharide is again classified into the two groups, that is aldoses and the ketones. It depends upon the how much number of the molecules is attached to the monosaccharides. Next one, they have contained 3 to 10 carbon atoms, 2 or more hydroxyl OH groups, and are aldehyde, that is CHO, or one keto group, that is a CO. They are represented the general formula CH2O in bracket N, where N it is nothing but maybe the 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 in numbers, that is increasing orders of the numbers. So the monosaccharides contain one or more asymmetric carbon atoms. The asymmetric carbon atom is attached to 4 different groups. Based on the number of carbon atom presents, the monosaccharides named as trioges, tetroges, pentoges, and hexoses, so on. Then now this is one of the examples of that, the aldoses and the ketones. One is the trioges. You know that the 3 carbon atom it has containing and the 6 hydrogen atom, it is nothing but called as the glycerols. This one is the aldoses group. Tetroges, that is containing 4 carbon atom, that is erythros. Pentose, that is a 5 carbon atom, that is called as the ribose. Hexoses, that is a 6 carbon atom it contains, that is called as the glucose. And in the ketones, then the trioges, it is nothing but example of that the CO, that is dihydroxyacetone. Tetroges, it is called as erythrolase, then ribulase, and the fructose. So this is the molecules of aldoses and the ketones. This monosaccharide is again classified into the two groups, that is aldoses and the ketones. Next one, the oligosaccharides. That they are the sugar which yields 2 to 10 monosaccharides molecules on the hydrolysis. When oligosaccharides contains 2 monosaccharide units is called disaccharide. That is example, that is maltose, lactose, sucrose, etc. It releases 2 monosaccharide molecules on the hydrolysis. Means minimum 2 to 10 molecules of the of monosaccharides they have released after hydrolysis. It is nothing but called as the oligosaccharides. When it contains 3 molecules called trisaccharides. When it is contain 4 molecules, that is called a tetrasaccharide. It is contains the 5 molecules, that is another one. It depends upon that how much numbers of molecules they have attached to the monosaccharides or oligosaccharides. That some oligosaccharides are combined with proteins and are called as the glycoproteins. Oligosaccharides are classified into 3 or more types based on the number of monosaccharide molecules released on hydrolysis. They are as follows. That is disaccharides means the 2 molecules of monosaccharides they have released after the hydrolysis. Then trisaccharides, that is the 3 molecules of monosaccharides they have released after hydrolysis. And then tetrasaccharides means that is the 4 molecules of monosaccharides they have released on the hydrolysis. Next one is the non-sugar groups, and the non-sugar groups, it is called as the polysaccharides. It is a sugar giving more than 10 monosaccharides molecules on hydrolysis. They do not have a sweet taste and insoluble in water. After the hydrolysis, the sugar giving the 10 monosaccharides molecules, they are called as the non-sugar, or it is called as the polysaccharides. According to, polysaccharides are classified into two types, that is homopolysaccharides and the heteropolysaccharides. These are the two groups. So first of all, that what is meant by the homopolysaccharides? They are composed of only one type of monosaccharides on hydrolysis. After the hydrolysis, they have same type or only one type of monosaccharide molecules they have released after the hydrolysis. This is called as the homopolysaccharides. But they yield only one type of monosaccharides. Example, that is a starch, glycogen, cellulose, etc., etc. Then heteropolysaccharides. It is composed of a mixture of molecules after the hydrolysis. Means they are not produce the only one type of or the similar type of the molecules. They have different molecules of monosaccharides, or they have mixture of the monosaccharides molecules. They form after the hydrolysis, that is called as the heteropolysaccharides. Example, hyaluronic acid, chondroitin, heparin, agar-agar, etc. And it include natural sugar and mucopolysaccharides. Then properties of carbohydrates. The most important functions or most important properties of that carbohydrate, it is to provide energy to the body of animals or energy to the animals. It is nothing but the richest source of energy to the animal beings. Then they are structural components of tissue and important in the regulation of fat metabolism, protein sparing functions, and functions in the digestive tract. These are the basic or the main role of that the carbohydrates in our body. Structural component of cells. So it is serve as an important structural material in some animals and the plants. It is constitute the cellulose framework. The major source of energy. We know that it is essential for the life of animal. Breakdown of 1 gram of carbohydrate releases 4.5 calories of energy. Then storage substance of potential energy. It is stored in the body of animal in the form of glycogen. It is stored in the liver. It is control the glucose level in blood, and it is also stored in muscles. In plant, starch is the stored substances. Next one is the regulation of the fat metabolism. Some are essential for normal oxidation of fats, otherwise it is common symptoms are uncontrolled diabetes patients. For this, the fat metabolism. Then the protein sparing function. If it is not supplied in required amount of fat, and then protein will be utilized as a source of energy. So this known as a protein sparing function. Then key role in the metabolism. So carbohydrate play a key role in the metabolism of amino acids and the fatty acids. Then supportive functions. Cellulose in plant and sulfate in bone tissue offer supportive function. Then the biological cement. It is act as a biological cement, that is acidic heteropolysaccharides such as hyaluronic acid functions as intracellular cementing substance. Then the anticoagulant. Heparin and synthetic sulfated polysaccharides are widely used an anticoagulant and anti-atherosclerotic drugs preventing deposition of lipids into the vessels. So these are nothing but the important functions or the important properties of the carbohydrates. Thank you. Welcome your suggestions and the question. Thank you once again.